Hello and welcome back to Geek Legion of Doom. I am here today from the Lisa Loves channel to do a review for you for the 2022 Australian movie The Cost. Now we don't get a release here until the 17th of July, it's a digital release date. So to give you some details as to who's involved with this movie. So first of all, this is directed by Matthew Holmes, who really interestingly started his career as a stop motion animator, like storyboard creator, sculptor, and he's moved into directing. He also was one of the writers on the movie alongside Gregory Moss. Now in the movie we mainly only have 4 characters that we follow, 3 for the main part and 1 that comes in a little bit later on. Now I'm terrible with names so I will read them for you. We have Jordan, Fraser-Trumble, Damon Hunter, Kevin D and Clayton Watson comes in a little bit later on. So the premise of this movie, guys, The Cost very much sums up what this movie is about. We follow 2 very ordinary guys who in their past something has happened to someone that they both love dearly, and they have not, as is quite often the case, that person did not receive the punishment that was fitting at the time. They are not very happy about this and they want to set matters right. They want revenge, they want to seek this person out, and they want to in a very big way teach them a lesson. So this movie follows the 2 guys, David and Aaran, from the conception of the plan as to what's happened. We do get flashbacks in the movie to actually show us, to really, I think it's really difficult to actually say what's happened and get the same emotion from a viewer as actually showing them what happened, putting a face to a name, and the flashbacks are really effective in that sense. So we follow these 2 guys as they hatch the plan, as they put the plan into effect, and as they come against various obstacles that maybe they weren't perhaps thinking about, they weren't preempting to start with. It's very tense, it's riveting stuff. You'll be completely drawn in with this one from the start. There was no boring moments in this whatsoever. The acting from all the individuals concerned, there was no weak link. It would be very easy to overact this, to over-egg the pudding, because it's a very stressful situation. You have very heightened emotions, you've got rage, you've got fear, everything you can think of in a heightened sense, and it would be so easy to go too far with this, but this movie very cleverly keeps it restrained. But the acting performances at the intensest of emotions is absolutely fabulous. The character Troy and what he goes through, who's the actual person that perpetrated this horrendous act, it's just spot on. It's exactly how you feel you would react in his situation. You as a viewer are to-ing and fro-ing, and you're sort of like, do I agree with what they're doing? Is this going to change anything? Has this individual changed? Have they realized the error of their ways? Are these 2 guys, David and Aaran, going to stay on the same page? They start off both wanting the same thing, but are their personalities going to hold? It's a very difficult thing that they're doing. When obstacles present themselves in this movie, as they invariably do, are they going to have the strength to actually follow through with their original plan, or is Troy going to convince them otherwise? Is something going to get in the way? To find all those things out, you're going to have to watch the movie. I usually talk about pros and cons. I honestly cannot give you any cons for this movie, none whatsoever. The acting performances, for me, the 2 most important things when I watch a movie are the acting performances and the story. Is it believable? Do I feel something? For me, that's the main crux. I want to feel something. I 100% felt something in this movie. I could see every character's viewpoint. I could feel every character's, fight, their argument. It was so impeccably well acted by everyone involved. We do have another character that comes in a little bit later on. And again, he's absolutely fantastic. He's maybe not in it quite so much, but the reactions are so believable. You never once watch this and hear yourself say, oh, for God, who would do that, or you wouldn't do that. And I find myself saying that all the time when watching really big budget movies. Stupid character decisions are a big no-no for me, and this movie is believable start to finish. The characters are all believable, they're all multifaceted, they're all well thought out. The interactions and relationships between the 2 main guys has been very well put across. They've got quite different characters even though they want a similar thing. Is that going to present a problem? The shooting in this movie, a lot of it is set in a forest. It's absolutely beautiful. The lighting is spot on. You never find yourself getting frustrated because you can't see what's happening, or it's too dark, or there's nothing that pulls you out of it. There's not a shot that sort of brings you out of the story. You get immersed right at the beginning and it keeps you right in that little bubble right to the end of this movie. The movie's not too long. You don't find yourself looking at your watch wondering how long's left, or you know, what's going to happen. Oh, there's like 15-20 minutes left, so something's going to happen. You're just completely immersed in this story, wondering where it's going to go. And it's not completely predictable at all. You think you know what's going to happen, but you couldn't possibly guess exactly what's going to happen at the end of this movie, which again, completely believable. It's one of those where I kind of had a way I wanted it to end, and it was really satisfying for me how this movie ended. I loved how it ended and what happened and the questions that it raised and the morality. And if you're sat watching this with someone else, you will have the discussion. How would you feel about that? What would you do? And it really very much does do that. Although it is a revenge movie and it is difficult to watch in places, it's not like a gory movie, so don't worry about that, but it is psychologically in places difficult to watch. It very much is about the psychology, it is about the feeling, the thought, the inspiration behind wanting to do it and sticking to the guns and have they done the right thing. So that's the sort of like angle you're coming from. The score of this movie, again, another thing that can really bring you out of a movie is if the music used completely does not go with what you're watching, if it's too loud, if it's, you know what I mean? It just, the score perfectly fits this movie. It doesn't intrude. It's not too loud. It's not too... Sometimes you can get a really like lively, loud, intrusive score in a moment where you really want to concentrate on what you're watching, seeing what someone is saying. And sometimes scores are put in to tell you how you should feel at that moment, like when we get the swelling, like emotional music when you're meant to cry in a movie, which really frustrates me. I don't like being told how I'm meant to feel when I'm watching something. And this movie doesn't do that. It doesn't patronize you by telling you, right, this is a really tense bit, we're going to put this type of music. It does not do that. You don't actually notice the music unless you're looking for it. When you watch a movie to review, you have to pay attention to these things. You have to sort of look for them because you want to report to other people. So the music perfectly fitted. It didn't intrude. It just elevated scenes. The cinematography was beautiful. The acting performances were sublime. That was my favourite thing about the movie. The story was believable, interesting, had a satisfactory conclusion. I can't give you any cons, guys, and I honestly thought, as I say, at the beginning of watching a movie, I do check IMDb to see, not to read reviews, I don't want to spoil it, but I want to see what a rating is. And this is a very new movie, so it doesn't have a massive amount of ratings yet. And it was sitting there at an 8.8, and I did cynically go in thinking, as is usually the case, people that have worked on this movie have rated it, people that have starred in it and their friends and family have rated it and artificially inflated it. And boy, was I wrong, guys. This movie really does deserve the IMDb rating that it has. So definitely 100% I recommend The Cost. It's an Australian movie filmed in Melbourne. Fantastic acting performances all round. Nothing I can say bad about the movie whatsoever. And if I had to rate this one out of 10, I would go an 8.5. So I'm pretty on board with people on IMDb at an 8.8. So let me know if you've seen the movie, if it sounds like something that you would be interested in. Definitely get that one in your watch list and look out for that coming out on the 17th of July this year, as I do not think very many people will be disappointed. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.